we go. The WBA Super Middleweight Championship scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Presentando al retador en la esquina azul, introducing the challenger in the blue corner, wearing green trunks with white trim. Un peleador originario de San Pedro de Macorís, Dominican Republic, y ahora de New York. Pesando 75 kilos, he weighed in at 165 1/2 pounds. Con un récord de 22 victorias, 3 derrotas y un empate, tiene 18 ganadas por knockout. His record includes 22 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, with 18 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the challenger, ranked the number 10 WBA Super Middleweight contender, presentando al retador número 10 en el mundo, Merqui Machine Gun Sosa. Y el campeón en la esquina roja, his opponent across the ring in the red corner, entering the ring wearing red, white, and blue trunks. Representando Davenport, Iowa, en los Estados Unidos, he weighed in at 168 pounds. Tiene récord de 41 victorias y solamente una derrota, con 27 victorias por knockout. His outstanding record includes 41 wins, only 1 loss, 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Welcome the former IBF middleweight champion. Tonight defending his WBA super middleweight title, demos la bienvenida al campeón Michael, second to none. Aquí está el referee, Julio César Alvarado. Recuerda las instrucciones, primero de instrucción, ¿ok? Lo, guante, toque guante.
Michael Nunn versus Merqui Sosa for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship, scheduled for 12. A dramatic contrast in styles. The champion Nunn, a stylish, slick, mobile, extremely fast southpaw who is hard to hit. The challenger Sosa, awkward, aggressive, likes to mix it up, and favors a brawling style. And Ferdy and Bobby, this is a clash of styles in the truest sense. What is your read on this particular fight?
I think that the beginning read is exactly right, except there's a couple of factors. One of the factors is Nunn had to lose 7 pounds overnight, and that may cut his energy down and his resistance down. Merqui will put pressure and keep pressure on him. I don't think he's got enough knockout power to knock out Merqui early. I think it's going to be a long fight, and he's going to need all the energy he can get. Plus, the fact added that Angelo Dundee's not in the corner, it may or may not be a factor.
Well, also you have Joe Goosen working across from Michael Nunn for the first time since they split up. It's got to be some help from Merqui Sosa. No one knows Nunn as well as Goosen does. And also, I talked to Arnie Rosenthal, which is Merqui Sosa's manager, and also takes care of a lot of business for yours truly. Said that this is the first time Merqui Sosa had a training camp that was complete. He's in the best shape of his life, and really thinks he has a chance, a better than even money chance, of taking Nunn's title.
As Goosen in Sosa's corner adds a little spice, formerly a trainer for Michael Nunn. Usually Angelo Dundee is in Nunn's corner, but not tonight. They say because of personal reasons. The controversial Panama Lewis working the corner of Michael Nunn. Many people still heated about Lewis, who served time for his involvement in a 1983 boxing scandal in which he was found guilty for removing the padding in a fighter's gloves. Early action, Merqui Sosa with uppercuts to the body. The third man of the ring, the referee Julio Cesar Alvarado. The weather conditions are clear in Puebla, Mexico. 47 degrees, a little on the chilly side, I'd say. 50% humidity and 0% chance of rain. It is cold there, Bobby.
Oh yeah, it's cold, and a lot of fighters take a lot of time to heat up. I'm sure both of these fighters are well aware of what the temperature was and did the right things ahead of time. What I'm seeing here early on, Merqui Sosa is letting Nunn walk slowly toward him, not pushing him back or making him use his legs or waste any energy based on the fact that he probably too knows that he was 7 pounds overweight. He's letting Nunn come to him slow. He's not pressing Nunn and forcing any action, which I think is a mistake.
No, there's not much action here, as if both fighters are trying to get hot, and Merqui trying to adjust to this awkward, what appears to be an awkward left-handed style. He doesn't seem to quite understand or figure out Nunn. But this is only the first round, and that will, with a veteran like him, should take care of itself over the next few rounds. Nothing spectacular thus far. Neither one showing any intention of getting into heavy action in the first round.
Merqui Sosa in the dark trunks. Hard hat, lunch pail type of a fighter. You know about Michael Nunn, the southpaw, elusive, likes to bob and weave, clever footwork, snappy jab, crisp counterpuncher. And not to belabor the issue, but he did come within minutes of losing the title without ever throwing a punch. At the weigh-in Friday, 7 pounds over the limit, but 2 hours after the weigh-in, they said he'd get another chance on the morning of the fight at 7 a.m. Nunn made it to 168. Round 2 scheduled for 12. Michael Nunn on the white trunks. His 4th title defense, 10-1 in title fights with that lone defeat to James Toney. He comes off a 6th round TKO over Crawford Ashley in Memphis, Tennessee back on April the 23rd. Merqui Sosa, his first world title shot, rated number 10 by the WBA. His last fight, June 12th, the 6th round TKO of Mark Buchanan in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now Nunn beginning to unload a little more.
Well, there was more pressure put on by Merqui Sosa. His corner said, okay, that was an easy round. Now let's get down to action and start pressuring him. Start putting the pressure on him. Well, you know, that's a two-way street. He starts putting the pressure, and then he's going to get counterpunched to that. One of the things before, we don't want to belabor trainers too much, but Angelo Dundee is a quality top trainer. I don't think if Angelo's around, this guy comes in 7 pounds overweight the day before. At least all the many years that I traveled with Angelo, I never saw a fighter of his have problem with weight other than a pound or two, but 7 pounds.
And Bobby, how do you lose 7 pounds so quickly? You're a fighter. How does that happen?
I've seen a lot of fighters do a lot of things. I've seen them go in steam rooms with plastic on. I've seen fighters run up and down stairs with sweats and hats, and I've seen fighters take Lasix, put themselves in vans and put the heat on with plastic. I've seen them run miles. All of it is debilitating. All of it will take its toll, especially in the later rounds. And again, he only had till this morning to get the weight off. Whatever weight he put back on today, his body won't assimilate for another 24 hours.
And pressure being applied by the challenger, Merqui Sosa. So you're saying this could work adversely for Michael Nunn?
It sure can, and if I were Merqui Sosa, I'd be putting more pressure on early, forcing him to expend what he has now while he's fresh.
I think that's why they told him in the corner also, you have to worry about dehydration. You lose so much because you take water pills and steam baths to take all that water out of you and then try to put it back artificially. In other words, what we're saying is that Nunn is carrying around a disadvantage right now. He better get this guy out of here in a hurry, and Sosa doesn't look like the guy that's going to cooperate.
Sosa's a very awkward fighter. He comes in from some strange angles. You watch him, he whips his right hand sometimes over the top, sometimes around. He takes it and throws it from some strange angles. His feet sometimes look like he's almost knock-kneed and going to cave in. He's a very awkward fighter.
Sosa likes to mix it up and favors the brawling style. Born and raised in the Dominican Republic, made New York his home when he turned to pro boxing as a way out of the streets, and now lives in the garden spot of the nation, Brooklyn, New York. A working man's fighter.
And in the meantime, Sosa's getting in some good hard shots here, and nothing back from Nunn. That is not a very intelligent thing for Nunn, but that's the pressure that his corner, Sosa's corner, wanted him to pile on. Nunn turned him around. Let's see what he can do now.
Final seconds of round 2.
Fight your fight, brother. Okay? I want you back. This is me, brother. Box this man. You understand that? I step around him, long distance. Don't fight this man.
This flurry by Nunn is the kind that's trying to pull out the round after he's way behind, but he's really hitting nothing. He's hitting gloves on the top of the head, and none of that is effective, and I don't think he gained any points in doing that.
Yeah, you'll see that, you know, Nunn, he's got the boxing ability, but again, we don't know how much that weight's playing on his mind as well as his body. Here he's trying to dig a few shots to the body, but he spent the majority of that round with his back to the ropes, basically getting hit top of the head, arms, belly, everywhere.
Round 3, you could hear the words of Panama Lewis in the corner of Michael Nunn saying, don't fight this man's fight.
Well, I think it's the exact opposite. That's what you got to do. You not fight the man. So you say box him. You can't box one of the best boxers in going around in the profession. What you can do is mess him up with that awkward style, as he did that round. Push him to the corner, blang from all angles, and just punch uppercuts. He was hitting him with uppercuts from the inside, and that's what he's got to do. He can't stand outside and box with him, because Nunn will pick him apart.
Yeah, and after a while, we're probably going to sound redundant, but again, we got to know somewhere along the way, this weight problem may take effect. Mentally, it may be affecting him already, that he keeps thinking about conserving the energy, so Nunn's not moving as much. We'll see what happens.
Nunn is realizing he is in there with a survivor, a guy who gives everything he's got 100% of the time. Merqui Sosa in the dark trunks began his pro career as a middleweight, fighting mostly at Madison Square Garden, ran his record to 18-0 before meeting current IBF super middleweight champ James Toney in January of '91. The winner next in line for a world title shot. Toney won via decision, got his shot, and went on to defeat then middleweight superstar Michael Nunn. So it all ties together here.
You know, this guy's getting rich with this uppercut. He's loading up more and more of the uppercut. He keeps hitting it. One thing we have to consider here, this is Mexico. They love aggression. They got Mexican judges, and they love an aggressive fighter. They don't like pity-patting stuff. So we got, he's got more trouble than just dehydration and weight. He's got 3 Mexican judges that want to see you fight. They don't want to see you pity-pat.
Well, we know all judges, or I shouldn't say all judges, but many of the judges are former fighters. Some boxers, some sluggers and brawlers. The odds are pretty good if they're from Mexico. They weren't boxers, they move and stick.
No, Mexican judges like fighting, and so the crowds do. An English judge loves to see beautiful boxing. So, a nice shot by Sosa. Sosa's getting in some hard punches. Nunn is boxing a little bit better than in the second round.
Nunn seems to be trying to work Sosa's body. Maybe he feels or knows something that we don't know, or just has it in his mind that he's going to work his body because maybe no one else has.
Sosa, devastated by that loss to Toney, bounced around from promoter to promoter, posting a mediocre record of 3-2-1 over the next 2 years. He is looking impressive here, though, against the champion Michael Nunn. Less than 30 seconds remaining in round 3. Sosa holding his own. And he, the aggressor, but countering is Michael Nunn, looking for that combination.
And you can see right off the bat, I mean, one guy's quality boxing. I mean, Nunn is a quality fighter, and the other guy is a good journeyman, tough guy. But there's no comparison in the style of the two.
Good, baby. We're going to win this fucking title tonight. I can smell it. Okay? Here we go.
Round 4 scheduled for 12. How does this affect Michael Nunn in that all of a sudden, fellas, he has to listen to a new voice in Panama Lewis and not the steady voice of Angelo Dundee?
It's not a question of voice. It's a volume what you're getting. Angelo talks to you lightly and slowly, but you understand he's giving you a game plan. He's telling you, do this, do that. With Panama, it's more excitement. It's more cheerleading. It's more hysteria to his voice. Some boxers respond to that, but most people like that calm approach. Okay, son, do this, do that. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I'll tell you, because of Panama's problems over the past of not being able to be in the corner, even when he was with Michael in training camp, he was ringside, and Angelo was doing all the talking, but he's very used to listening to Panama in the gym and throughout training camp, so probably not going to be that difficult for him, although Angelo's style is, as you say, different.
And once again, Nunn's corner imploring him to fight within himself. As Sosa goes for the body once again.
As we looked in Michael Nunn's corner while Panama Lewis was imploring him to box, he did look like he was breathing a little too heavy, looked a little drawn in the face. He just didn't look like the perky, cocky Michael Nunn that I've always seen.
Sosa is not impatient. I mean, he's taking his time. He's trying to work his fight. He's getting outboxed by Nunn because he's a far superior boxer. If all of these things we talk about take effect in the 6th or 7th, then his patience is going to pay off. If not, he's just on a way to losing a points decision.
Yeah, I think he's being far too patient right now. He's got to force a brawl. He's got to force a street fight. Force one of those sloppy, throw him from every angle. That's his fight. That's what he has to force. And right now he's worried too much about getting pity-patted on his face.
Nunn won the WBA super middleweight belt in September of '92 with a decision over Victor Cordoba. It was a controversial win. Nunn knocked down in the 10th, but took the decision in a rematch in January of '93. Nunn, withstanding several low blows, dominated Cordoba from the start, sending him to the canvas twice in the 2nd round, but he could never finish Cordoba off, but won the convincing decision. The fans vocally behind the challenger Merqui Sosa. A crowd of 35,000 expected at Chauhtomac Stadium in Puebla, Mexico. It's an outdoor soccer stadium that seats over 60,000.
Peekaboo style is not giving him a good platform to launch his attack from. He's just not that fast. He's got a good right hand in there just then. Another one right now. Little uppercut. And he has to keep punching like that. He can't let Nunn equalize things out with his pity pads.
He really comes in awkward, and he's just got to apply the pressure a little more consistently and keep Michael Nunn's back to the ropes.
Let's take a look at Nunn. Remember, he's a champion. He is an excellent boxer. He keeps his mind straight. He keeps his eyes focused on the fighter. And look at the repetitiveness of these punches, one right after the other, right on target. And he doesn't seem to get tired throwing them, but it's early in the fight, as you say, Bobby.
Yeah, well, you know, he's real accurate, too. So as the fight gets on and you're tired, those quick, sharp, stinging punches start to hurt a lot more.
All right? Keep jabbing up, motherfucker, okay? Watch it. Let's go. Watch it.
The words of Panama Lewis to Michael Nunn as we begin round 5. Keep jabbing. The big weapon for Nunn, the left uppercut, criticized in the past for his defensive, non-aggressive running style. Up until the loss to Tony for the IBF middleweight belt, he was an unusual case in that he won fights but lost ground because of this style. He's back to winning 5-0 since that defeat.
While Sosa was in the corner, Joe Goose, and Nunn's former trainer, kept saying, even if you're missing him, make him go backwards. He's running, he's using energy, make him back up. He can't beat you if he's going backwards like that. And I think maybe as a super middleweight, he's less effective as a mover, but he's still a superior boxer for Sosa.
And Bobby, he seems to have solved that left-handed style. It doesn't seem to bother him like it did that first round, where he didn't know whether to move to one side or to the other. Right now, he solved everything by just standing up there and trying to land these uppercuts. just like he just did then.
Well,
He's got to throw more of those.
Yeah, I think what Sosa needs to do is be right on top of him, crowd him like this, force a little bit of a brawl in the street fight where they'll get inside. You'll see some heads, some elbows, some shoulders. This is the type of fight Sosa should want if he's going to win this title.
Well, he can't stand out there because he's going to eat those jabs all night long, and this Nunn can jab. Just a beautiful, repetitive jab 2-3 times. He really can box beautifully.
And if you'll watch from the outside, Sosa tries to try it again. He'll bend and try and whip that right hand in. And the right hand he throws is very unorthodox. It can come around, it can loop, it can come up. You just don't know where it's coming from or where it's going to land. So he's always trying to set that right hand up from the outside, but what he needs to do is jab his way in and get inside and start working.
He's just getting outboxed right now. He doesn't know how to get close enough to do all the things he's got to do. The movement of Nunn is very, very good, and his concentration on what he's got to do, he just doesn't rest. He's right after it.
Less than a minute, round 5. This for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship from Puebla, Mexico. The champion, Michael Nunn, in the white trunks with the red trim. The challenger, Merqui Sosa, his first world title shot. Thus far, the challenger Sosa has been somewhat baffled by the exquisite boxing style of Michael Nunn.
See, Sosa hesitates, and when he hesitates, he gets hit. And when Michael Nunn wants to, he just ties him up. Sosa doesn't do anything to avoid that or keep his hands free and working on the inside. Again, here, he should never let Nunn get underneath him and drive him back into the ropes. That works totally to his disadvantage.
And what we're looking at is a champion against a worthy journeyman, but certainly not in the quality. He is the number 10 ranked contender, and he's got a nice little record, but he's not in the class of the champion. This is the kind of work that you see Sosa on the inside. Bobby was talking about. He's got to work on the inside. He's got to tie him up. But you see, Nunn knows how to get away from all this because he comes and punches underneath and more likely than not turns him around and then belabors Sosa on the rope. So this is nothing for Nunn. Nunn knows how to get away with this. And unfortunately, Sosa has no other recourses, no other alternatives to hit him with.
The crowd clearly behind the challenger Merqui Sosa as we enter into round 6, scheduled for 12 for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship.
Sosa's eyes are starting to get puffy. They've been putting in swell and some cold compresses on there, but he is starting to get swollen, and that's the result of all of these jabs, and there's a lot of them.
He seems to hang his left arm out there, Sosa, and just kind of paw, looking to deliver that right hand, and what he has to do is work his way in. Nunn works around that gawky left hand, ties him up, and here again he's pushing him back, getting underneath him, keeping his chin above his, and working his body and pushing him off, not exerting a lot of energy.
How about a score from you guys, an unofficial tally at this particular stage here in round 6?
I have it 49-46 after 5 rounds for Michael Nunn. I think Sosa came on in the second round, worked well, but first round, a slight edge. First round could have even been even, but the last 3 rounds, Michael Nunn has taken charge and done what he's had to do.
I have it exactly the same, 49-46, the last 3 rounds straight for Nunn.
Nunn continues to pretty much have his way, will dart in and out with timely blows. Left hand there by Nunn, but it was shielded by the glove of Sosa.
Nice solid right hand by Nunn. Nunn is just picking apart and being hit so many times is starting to wear out Sosa, and so far none of the wear and tear that we anticipated from his losing weight is affecting the champion Michael Nunn. He looks like he's nice and fresh. He's popping away.
If you notice in that sequence, Sosa's peeking out from his gloves, trying to almost block and tap away each of Nunn's shots. They're too quick and they're too many for you to anticipate or see each and every one and block them. They're going to get through. They're going to hit him. What he has to do is sometimes forget about Nunn's offense and get to his own and not worry about one or two that might slip through the cracks.
Exactly right. He cannot rely on any defense. He has to go all-out offense and hope that his awkward style will result in something good for him, either a cut or a knockdown or something that'll help him pull his fight.
Now, Nunn might be able to get away with this against a journeyman workman-like fighter like Merqui Sosa, but what about against a guy like Nigel Benn or Chris Eubank or James Toney? He's got to be careful in the future.
That's completely different. That's totally different opposition. That's a completely different aspect. When you get in there, you get into the very top of championship boxing. When you get another guy equal to you, this guy's not.
Well, he's getting the job done here, but obviously not respecting Merqui Sosa coming into this fight.
Yeah, see, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank not only punch better than Merqui Sosa, they have better boxing ability, and they know strategy in fighting. And they'll take it to Michael Nunn in a very different way.
Now he's on his bicycle, more so than earlier in the fight, as we head for the bell in round 6.
Don't let him steal around by going, you know what I mean? No, you don't sit on the ropes again like that. Now, he's running for his life. Por su vivo. Okay, you hear me? He's running for his life. His mouth is open. He's just chilling, relax. Low blow. No, he's on the far line. Stop the hit. I know, I told him 3 times. Now listen, take a deep breath. Spit that. Take that.
These are the combinations by Nunn that are getting his eyes all swollen up. Again, as Bobby points out, he's trying to do defense. He's trying to hold those gloves up, pick something. He can't. The other guy's too fast. Nunn being so fast, reflexively, you can't pick that up.
You're not going to get every one of those, Freddie. They're just too quick and too many.
We begin round 7. The WBA super middleweight title scheduled for 12.
You know, the frustration must be, Bobby, when you want it as bad as Sosa does, and he's here trying 100% of what he's got. He's trained hard, and he's trying hard. His corner's telling him to do the things, but nothing can work because this other guy's just simply not there to get punched. I mean, he won't stand still to get punched. He's moving around, bipping and bopping.
Boxers with Michael Nunn's type of hand speed and foot speed and good defense, ability to lean out of the way of punches, are always going to be a nuisance and an annoyance for shorter fighters or guys that, like Merqui Sosa, like to come in and brawl and just get to it. Always going to be trouble, and what he has to do is adjust and make this fight lean toward his style of fighting better, but he's not doing it. He's letting Nunn dictate the pace.
Nunn's former trainer, Joe Gooshin, in the corner of the challenger, Merqui Sosa. Joe Gooshin, a long history with Michael Nunn. In fact, he was handling Nunn when Nunn won his first title, the IBF middleweight championship. He was with him through thick and thin for many, many years, and that relationship ended on some bad blood. And this is an interesting scenario here with Joe Gooshin going up against his old fighter.
To say nothing of them allowing Panama. Oh, watch out.
Look out as Nunn goes through the ropes and then pushed by Sosa, getting reprimanded by the referee Julio Cesar Alvarado, and Nunn trying to get back into the ring.
That's a big, soft cushion around the ring that's put there to keep fighters, when they're going out of the ring, from hitting those hard wood and the typewriter. So he did not, that could have been a big disaster, but that big rubber bumper there helped him out a great deal. He does not look happy.
Nunn winding up along Crest Road.
I'm not sure what they're doing. They're putting him down on his seat and letting him have a rest. He didn't hit him low. It wasn't that type of foul.
What's he saying? I can't fight anymore? What's he saying?
Sosa raising his arms in jubilation. There's Joe Gooshin in the background, and they go back at it.
I'll tell you what, it's appeared as if Michael Nunn said, I can't fight anymore.
Yeah.
They were trying to get a disqualification, at least Panama Lewis was, and part of this might be because of that 7 pounds and what might happen down the road in the late rounds.
So controversy here in round 7.
Well, it came up like lightning because he just started to go kind of between the ropes. He was pushed a little bit more, it looked like, by Sosa, and came back up painfully. And of course, if he'd have stayed there, he would have been disqualified and lost the championship.
What's going to happen next? The parachutist will land?
Please, let's leave the parachutist wherever he is right now.
You know, Sosa pushed him a little bit. Michael was also holding, tying him up and leaned back, and the ropes were a little loose. there's a little bit of a wider gap on the bottom, and they just went through. There would be no precedent for disqualification under those circumstances.
How do you just sit down, put a towel over your shoulder, say, I don't want to fight anymore, and then race back into it?
Boxing has some strange things happening, and this wouldn't be the strangest, but it'd be right up there.
As a wonderful propellant when somebody says you're about to lose the championship if you don't get up. You can quit the act and you get up and start fighting, and that's exactly what Nunn did. Although he looked pained, he didn't, and he certainly didn't look happy.
Without falling out of the ring, Muhammad Ali, when he fought Sonny Liston the first time, sat down and said, I'm not doing it, and he kicked him out there. Angelo kicked him out to the
Well,
fight.
he was blind at the time. He couldn't see it all at the time. Let's see what happens in the corner here.
Hey, it's all you!
Want Rob?
Oh, you're all right. What's the ice cream? Looking on the ice cream. You're all right. Welcome back, Chester. Welcome back.
Stay off the ropes. I'm going to wrestle you like that.
Man, it's coming out wild.
All right, let's take a look at this. Let's look and see. Right there, it looks like Sosa was about to go out of the ring. Now he lifts him up. That's it. He Sosa lifted him up, lifted Nunn up, and pushed him between the ropes.
I think more of it was an off-balance trip and a combination of where the ropes were in their feet. I don't think any of it was on purpose by either party. Just the luck of the lie, as they say.
Here we go. Hey, please, hold on. Let's not let him sit the fucking...
Well, that, Bobby Chaz, is the first time I ever heard golf being compared to boxing.
Well, it was the best I could do under the circumstances.
The luck of the line. All right, here we are in round 8. Well, this fight was just going off nicely in deliberate fashion, then all of a sudden, the 7th round, Nunn goes through the ropes, sits down in his corner, says, I don't feel like going on, and then suddenly jerks back into the center of the ring and goes on the attack against Sosa.
Well, before the incident with the ropes, Merqui was having a little bit of a better round, working on the inside, have Michael's back up against the ropes like he's supposed to be trying to do. And then after Michael jumped off the corner, he went right at him like a nut. So maybe it's inspired him, maybe it hasn't. I couldn't begin to tell you what's going through Michael Nunn's mind.
Well, we before this fight, neither you nor I thought this was going to be a quick knockdown. We thought this was going to be a decision or late rounds. Oh, nice shot by Nunn just then. And it figures to be like that because Nunn is so patient. He'll just pick a guy apart, give him a boxing lesson, jab him to the point of distraction, close his eyes. But Sosa can't get close enough to do the damage.
Well, I'll tell you, Michael Nunn has always been a patient boxer, but I don't think this is still vintage Michael Nunn. I think that the 7 pounds that he had to take off from last night to this morning has to be playing some role in his ineffectiveness, because he's even better than this. Although he's outclassing Merqui Sosa, he's still considerably better than this when he's 100% and he's fresh. I can't understand why a professional of his caliber would come in 7 pounds overweight, though. I'm totally baffled.
That's a training mistake. That's someone not being responsible enough to check the weight all the time and making sure he's at the right weight. Those are things that can't happen if you got trainers that are good trainers with you.
Well, as we mentioned at the outset, Angelo Dundee left Mexico, went back home because of personal reasons, and Panama Lewis is now the chief in the corner of Michael Nunn. So all of that might have something to do with the weight situation.
Well, it certainly does. I understand from listening to other people that Angelo had some sickness in the family with his wife, and if that's the case, we certainly hope that Helen is well on the way to recovery. And I'm sure that Angelo would love to be here, and I'm sure he would be embarrassed if a fighter of his showed up with 7 pounds, because in the years that I worked with him, I never saw anything like this.
Well, you're talking about a man who trained 12 world champions, including Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. Angelo Dundee, one of the greats. Final seconds of round 8. Both fighters have managed to stay in the ring for this particular round.
Nunn's back on track too, so he seems to have that whole situation out of his system.
Literally and figuratively back on track.
Too many people talking in the corner at the same time. Nets zero absorption from the fighter.
I've always hated that.
And I think that I believe that Panama Lewis is now working on the outside, means well. He wants to encourage his fighter, but what he's saying is you need these rounds. Well, I don't know what rounds he's talking about because he's way ahead.
Round 9. Let's see if Michael Nunn turns it up a notch here. Nunn going to the combinations. Sosa continues to come in at different angles with his awkward style. There's a lunging left that missed by Nunn. There's the jab. We heard them say in Nunn's corner, go to the uppercut. Let's see what happens.
See, Nunn is so much quicker. If they're both going to pour that jab out there, Sosa's left and Nunn's right, and then try and fire crosses across, Nunn's going to get there first. He's going to land, and he's going to win the fight.
The challenger, Merqui Sosa, being cautioned by Julio Cesar Alvarado. Get the punches up. Low blows. Little pawing there by Michael Nunn. There's that jab again by the southpaw, looking to set up the uppercut.
That's odd.
That was a strange blow by Sosa.
He'll throw him from any angle. He sure will. So I think Sosa knows what he needs to do in his mind, but I don't think he's physically capable of doing it against Michael Nunn, and that's posing his biggest problem so far.
That's probably the best description of this fight thus far. He knows what he's got to do. He just can't do it. That's all there is to this. And he can't do it because Nunn is a superior fighter.
All that constant waiting and waiting. Michael Nunn gets his rest when he wants. He fires punches when he wants. And he's pretty accurate with everything he's landing in. A couple of token big wild shots by Sosa, but he's not being consistent and he's not being accurate.
Sosa just looking for that one-punch knockout, but of course, Nunn is too slick and too elusive. Less than a minute remaining in this 9th round, scheduled for 12. Here's a good combination to the head, a right counter by Sosa, did no damage.
That's a problem. Even when they do land, they're so tentative the way he's throwing them now that they have no steam, they have no effect on Nunn, who does not seem to be showing any of the effects of that weight loss.
20 seconds remaining of the 9th round. Here's the first evidence of a jab we saw from Merqui Sosa, but right back comes the champion, Michael Nunn. And round number 9 is now in the books. Sosa after the bell.
Take a deep breath. You must run this.
This is the end of the round, that action that sometimes flurries and happens after a bell, and it's kind of strange. That punch really did nothing.
It's the only time that Sosa get a clean shot at him.
Yeah, but look at the referee. Referee said, no, come on. Try to hit him during.
I want to see this. I want to see that right now.
Well, this is more like a grudge match for Joe Goose, and did you see the passion in his eyes as he instructed Merqui Sosa? I want to see a little bit of this, and I want to see a little bit of that.
And I want to see it right now. Right. Goosen has a little bit of a problem with Michael Nunn. We all know that it's well documented, and he would love nothing more than to get even, but he doesn't have the fighters to do it with, the fighter to do it with here tonight.
I don't think he's being very objective in the judging. If he thinks he's even close, he said this was round 10 like it was joyous. Like all he's got to do is 10, 11, and 12, 9 more minutes, and he's the next champ. Boy, if he is, that'll be going to be a surprise to me, and I think most of the boxing world.
Well, he's certainly watching a different fight than we are. Round 10 scheduled for 12.
Could have been more of a round 10 prayer, and that there's only 2 more.
Yeah, 3. never tell a boxer 2 more, 3 more, 10, 11, and 12. Oh. Those little sharp punches that don't look like they mean much, when you add them up at the end of a round, batters your face, and that's exactly what's happening to Sosa, causing him to be more cautious and more into defense and offense.
Not only does it batter your face, it batters your spirit, and it does zap your energy. Sosa looks like he's the more tired of the two, and he didn't have to lose 6 pounds or 7 pounds.
Meanwhile, Nunn taking care of business here, yet somewhat of a public relations problem because of the age-old problem. Fans want knockouts, and he is not producing that, but he is producing W's on his record.
I think when he gets in with the top guys that we talked about, you and Bent and all those, we're going to see wonderful fights because he has the quality. When somebody comes in as good as he is, you're going to see a wonderful fight.
Let's hope so.
He needs to step it up against a Nigel Benn, a Chris Eubank, or a James Toney. If you're going to see the best of boxing and punching, that's the only fight. Those are the only fighters you can do it with.
The best action of this fight came in round 7 when Michael Nunn wound up going through the ropes into press row and sat on his stool and said, I don't think I want to continue, and then bolted out and went right after Sosa. Most bizarre sequence.
And the most emotion shown by either fighters up to that point.
Michael looks very comfortable now. I think he realizes this fight is all but won. It's going through the motions the last few rounds, not getting careless, not getting sloppy, and he's getting the job done. It's not spectacular, but he's getting the job done. It's a W in the column.
And he's always done that. I mean, even when he was a kid and starting out, he's just patient. He'll win, but with his own skills and talent.
The only time it didn't happen was in May of '91 when ahead on all cards, he dropped his gloves in the 11th, and James Toney caught him with a powerful left hook that sent him to the canvas. Nunn couldn't recover and lost the IBF middleweight title in stunning fashion.
They just took a point away from him for hitting. They just took a point away from Sosa. Sosa hit him right on the top of the head.
I'll tell you that.
If he doesn't watch out, he'll be disqualified and thrown out.
I can't believe he's getting rid of it.
Okay? You got to steal around here.
Now here it is, and this is what cost him the round. Now the bell has sound. You see that yellow light on means that there's only so many seconds left. Bell rings, and Sosa throws a nasty punch on top of the head, and that's it right there. That's at the bell, and that cost him a point.
Because it was the second time, I'm sure the referee had to take that into consideration. But Joe Goossen's looking to pick a fight with the referee.
Alvarado is either deaf or shows a lot of restraint. Joe Goossen gave him an earful, and there was a shot by Merqui Sosa that sent the champion Michael Nunn reeling against the ropes. I don't know if he lost his balance or actually was affected by that punch.
I think it was more of a balanced shot. I don't think Michael's really affected, but again, late in the fight, the weight could be coming into play. Could have been a better shot than we thought, but I really don't think that was a significant punch.
So this is round 11.
Well, it's obvious that Goossen thinks he's either ahead or very close. He's talking about stealing the fight. You would need a 2 6-guns to steal this fight. I mean, what's he watching?
And I reiterate, I don't know how he gets away with that kind of verbal abuse against the referee.
Because the referee does not speak English very well and did not understand the obscenities that were being thrown at him.
If you watch as Merqui Sosa goes toward Nunn, his legs are almost caved in, knock-kneed. It looks like he can't get his legs under him.
Let me just say that language is universal. Doesn't matter what he speaks.
I'm afraid you're right.
That's the first English that referee knows as well.
He's from Panama, by the way.
Wherever he's from, he understands.
He understands. Halfway through the 11th.
Look at him just stand there. I mean, with the title on the line, how could you just stand there and take jabs from the champion? Why didn't he punch once you come forward? Like that?
He's trying now. Finally,
nice uppercut.
Extricates himself from the corner. But this guy, Nunn, just too elusive. Side to side. Can't catch him.
The motion, the fastness of the feet, of the hands, of the head, the way to anticipate blows. The guy is a master boxer. Let's give it to him.
Bobbing and weaving, ducking around.
And when he lands those little quick combinations, as the fight goes on and you're more and more tired, you can see by Merqui Sosa's head snapping back that, as Vince Lombardi once said, fatigue will make cowards of us all. Those punches hurt more, even when they would mean nothing when he's fresh.
This is in favor for the Mexican judges. They love to see a guy come forward, but he's got to land something. He's got to be effective. He can't just come forward and eat leather.
Two judges from Mexico City, the other from Tijuana. Less than 20 seconds in round 11. Now Nunn toying with Sosa. As we head for the bell. One more to go.
These are the skills that you see in Nunn. Look at the way he keeps his head moving, and the way he anticipates and senses the punches. He's really getting more and more masterful the older he gets.
He's a seasoned pro, just in a different league than the challenger, and you know it's clearly evidence that he can work with his hands down and back at the ropes and still not get hit.
Crowd of about 35,000 on hand here at Chautemoc Stadium in Puebla, Mexico. They touch gloves for the 12th and final round for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship. Michael Nunn of the white has had his way throughout most of the fight, if not all, against the challenger Merqui Sosa. And if I'm Merqui Sosa, I just throw caution to the wind. What do you have to lose here in the last round? Just go after him.
You know, sometimes it's just a matter of survival, saying that I went the distance with the champ. If he's that tired or if he is hurt, I don't know. But it just doesn't make sense to me to not take your best shot and let it all hang out.
Yeah, this is the last round, and he's trying. Merqui Sosa has been trying. It's the lack of commensurate skill, not desire. He's got the desire. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just he hasn't got the skill to get close to a boxer of this magnitude.
Sosa came in 22-3-1 with 18 knockouts. His first shot at a world title. Nunn 41-1 with 27 knockouts. His fourth title defense. The former IBF middleweight champ looking to retain his WBA super middleweight belt.
About the only other thought I would have on the weight, Bobby, is if he was 7 pounds overweight, if he was, we weren't there, they might have negotiated some intermediary weight because he might not have lost at all. I mean, he doesn't look slim and trim the way he usually does. He's got some spare tire there.
Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't speak on that issue, and it would only cause another problem for boxing.
Yeah.
Another black eye.
I hope it. I mean, that's just a suggestion because he certainly is fresh. He certainly looks great, and you can't. He did not show any effect of the weight loss that we anticipated. So.
P.S. Fortunately, he's fighting the journeyman.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think if he were fighting a top-notch fighter, we would have seen as fresh a Michael Nunn throughout the fight. Merqui Sosa didn't apply the pressure that was necessary to expose that weight loss as a problem.
Less than a minute in the 12th and final round. Nunn playing pitter-pat on the face of Sosa. Sosa coming forward, but ineffective.
Totally ineffective.
So you can chalk this one up pretty soon as another decision for the champion, Michael Nunn. Final 20 seconds. Sosa had none in the corner, but it meant nothing, as Nunn just spins him around. And that is it.
It's going to be good just to see Goosen's face, the reaction when they give the score here, because he's acting like a winner. He's picked up his fighter. He feels like he's won the title.
You know, I know Joe Goosen pretty well, and he's a good boxing person. He knows what he's doing, and I think he realizes that the fight was lost as far as Merqui Sosa was concerned, but he just appears a little too happy for me.
It looks like no hard feelings here, at least in this particular shot, as Goosen hugged Nunn.
This is boxing. Deep down, there are always bad feelings. Trust me on that one.
So this is acting 101, you're saying?
Well, usually a boxing person would say the only way for you to get off my bad list is by dying.
Merqui Sosa, born in the Dominican Republic, makes his home in Brooklyn, New York. His first world title shot against Michael Nunn, who lives in Agora Hills, California. So there you have it, never in doubt. A unanimous decision for Michael Nunn, who retains his WBA Super Middleweight Championship.